Hey, welcome to
Yeah.
my first record. My name is David Britto. I'm a music journalist based in Bombay. And on my first record, I talk to artists about their debut releases, whether it's an EP or an album. And today I'm joined by Bombay punk rock band The Lightyears Explode's vocalist and guitarist Saurabh Roy. And they released their full length debut album, The Revenge of Kali Charan, in 2013. And I'm excited to talk to him today. So, hey, Saurabh, what's up and how have you been?
Hi, David. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm well, man, and let's just jump into the album. It's such an exciting album filled with so much of energy. But I want to take you back to early when the album began. I remember watching a video of you mentioning that you guys started writing the album as soon as your exams were done. So, do you remember what exams those were, and what do you remember from that time?
Um, the last year of college, man, whatever those exams are called. I think it was around 2012. Uh, yeah, one of the songs I wrote was way before all of that. But yeah, most of them were right after the exams.
Nice. And what do you remember from that writing process?
Well, for most of the songs, I remember I had just down, got Logic. So this was the first time we started experimenting with demoing stuff. So I think that had a big impact. That's what we did after the exams were over. We got Logic and started putting ideas down. We had one song already, which I had written, the gay song. But we get, but apart from that, all the songs were written fresh for the album right after my exams. Our exams, yeah, we all gave them at the same time.
And let's jump into the songs, of course. So, yeah, the album opens with the Visceral Kunj Goodka. But what I want to know is how did the arrays make it into the song?
Ah, so the arrays are interesting. I wanted to have those in a chorus because I just thought it would be catchy. Before, so the first time we played a recognizable version of Kunj Gutka was, I don't know what year it was, but it was at Bandra Amphitheater with like a bunch of other bands. Um, and I remember we were playing with, I remember Pentagram was playing and I wanted to write a new song because I thought like the other ones were not good enough to be playing that gig. I don't know. So I was a week before Jam. I so I was like, we need to make something very characteristic, like of us. Now we have to write like our not a signature song, but like like the opening song of the set, that kind of song. We need to write one of those. So we were in the jam room and he started playing that bass line. And then it was really easy. I just came up with the riff and everything. The chorus was slightly different, which through the Logic demoing process, we made the chorus what it is now. It was slightly different before. It was dancier. Uh, yeah, and what it's about is we used to, we had just started smoking weed. So we used to ride around cars in the night because we couldn't do it at home. And I remember being very paranoid about cops on the road and naka bandis and stuff. So it's the song is about my paranoia about getting caught while I'm getting high on the road. I was not driving. I just want to put it out there. I just thought it was catchy and I wanted to put it in a song. And the basic feel of the song was like it sounds like it could have an array in it. I had that in mind for a while. I need to put array in a song somewhere because it just sounds catchy.
I want to talk about I Am a Disco Dancer. There was a video that was synced to a video called Indian Thriller, which I can't seem to find now. And that's also where the album
Uh-huh.
artwork kind of comes from. What happened to that video?
We didn't. I don't know who made that video. We didn't make that video. So I don't know what happened to it. Someone must have done it. I think Um, I remember the first time I saw anyone do it was at Ayan's house. Maybe he did it. Because I remember, bro, just check this out. This sounds really good with your, he had the demos. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool, man. And when we had to do the artwork, which was crazy, we were going to print the album. We had to give, so we had physical copies of the album, right? We had to print the album by a certain date. And the day before that, we don't have any artwork. So we all came to my house, and Shalom he still knows Photoshop. He's quite good at it, but he was very new at it then. So we just do something today. And we were all in my house, all the band and Himanshu, who used to manage us back then. And yeah, man, it turns out making artwork is really hard. Uh, so we have to give this by the morning, and at around 8 in the night, we call Ishan, who ultimately did the artwork. And I think he was in Lower Parel or something. He was working at OML at that time. He came over, and basically we spent the night. There were 2-3 different versions, but I remember that it went very well with the Indian thriller thing. And I thought maybe we could just pulp it up, make it really colorful and like a horror movie type of thing, but like really colorful. And that's how the artwork happened.
Karuneshwar Tarwar using Diet Coke as his intro song on YouTube, and I've noticed that Diet Coke has a lot of comments saying because of that they came to your page. I think your Spotify numbers also have Diet Coke as number 1. So how did Karuneshwar get in touch with you guys to use your song, and how do you feel about it getting so much of traction? I feel great about that. Great about it, but Karunesh I've known him since I was in college. We were both in Menti Bhai, and he was actually in another band that we used to play with called Fat Man's Entourage. But I've known him for years. He's one of my closest friends, and he just called me and said, "Can I use Kunj Goodka for?" I'm like, "Use whatever you want." And so he ended up not using Kunj Goodka and using Diet Coke, which great call by him, I'd have to say. For Garam Dharam, I want to take you back to the time that you guys performed that song at a food court in a mall. What was that surreal experience like, and how did it come about?
That was a series, I think, there was a channel, I forgot what the channel was called. But anyway, they had a series where a band would perform out of nowhere in like a weird environment. And I think some like Shire and Funk have a video of them in a gym. They did, so that was one of the other bands I remember doing that. I think Sky Rabbit did one. Anyway, so their idea was, listen, we'll put you in a mall and just play the song and dress up like Dharmendra. I think that got lost a little in the video. I don't think we quite nailed that. But yeah, what I remember most about that was it was obviously really strange because it was a food court. They weren't expecting that. And I don't know how many of them enjoyed it. Some kids seemed to enjoy it, but like the older people were just like, what the fuck is going on? The strangest thing was, I live in Goregaon. That was in Oberoi Mall. And my mom was shopping in the mall, like downstairs somewhere. And she didn't know I was playing. It was us. So when we got done, I changed and went down to meet her because, you know, if your mom's shopping, she'll probably buy you something. So I went down and she was complaining about all this noise that was happening upstairs. And I was like, Ma, that was me. That was us playing. And then she was a little embarrassed. She was like, well, maybe like, no, I didn't hear it properly. It was really far away. That's my memory of playing Garam Dharam in a mall. My mom thinking it was really noisy.
I want to talk about the PMan Explode song. How did that collaboration come about with Rohit Pereira, aka PMan?
Well, we hung out with him. We used to hang out with him, and obviously, before we used to hang out with him, I was a huge fan of his show. Once you know meet PMan, you know that the show is very authentic to him, but it's also like a dramatic version of him. Like in person, he's a little more like relaxed. Obviously, in front of a camera, and it's a show, so he had to. But I was a fan of that character, and what I wanted in the album was because it starts off like me out in the night, right? So I wanted this to like the feeling like all these songs are happening in like a night out or something like that. And as the night gets progressively later, I don't know, like closer to the early morning, I used to find myself in situations that I really didn't want to be in. Like I used to end up in someone's house and everyone was doing like weird drugs I didn't want to, and it was just a little crazy. So I wanted a song in the album, like near the end of the album, where like this is where where there's like a seductive outside influence, like a not like a bad influence almost. So that's where what I wanted PMan to be in that song. I wanted him to seduce you with his swagger, but also you want to know that, oh, what is going on here? Should I go back home and just go to sleep? That's the vibe of the song. It's like that part of the night where shit goes a bit crazy and you're not exactly sure if you still want to be out there. So when he was doing it, I just told him to go out there, be an overblown version of himself, a darker version of himself almost.
I don't give a fuck about what's right. Give me a knife, throw at the time.
You mentioned about you being paranoid about cops and you guys aren't fans of them. I think the title track is also kind of related to that. Where did that stem from?
So this is the title track was what some, I guess, songwriters call a sneeze. Like you just sneeze it out. I had gone for, there was a gig at Blue Frog called like it was a ska gig or something. It was ska night. And I just felt like I used to listen to like ska music. I used to listen to Operation Ivy a lot, which was like, they used to make ska, but like hardcore punk. And I obviously we used to listen to like lots of rock and roll and like garage rock. So I was at the ska night and it was fun. And I was driving back home and I was thinking like, I want to write a song like that, but also like the ska bands I listen to, because I think what the Ska Avengers were playing, and they're great, but they're like a old school sort of ska band. They're very authentic to that ska sound, and what I wanted was that early 90s ska punk thing, but a little darker, more pulpy. So on the drive back home, I kind of had it in my head that it'll go like, I had that riff and everything, and the next day in the jam room, we pretty much played the song. Lyrically, it's obviously like the whole album has I wanted to be grounded in real experiences, but pulpy and over the top, like a B movie, like a Bollywood B movie. So although so I wanted this song to be like the really gory, violent sort of song where Kalicharan has just gone off the wall and is just like killing his enemies violently. And his enemies throughout the album are cops. It was a very long time ago. So I wanted, yeah, so that's it. And I threw in pop culture references, like little lines about the Clash, a couple of movies also. I don't remember exactly right now. But yeah, that was the easiest song to write on the whole album.
I want to ask you about the recording sessions in particular, because initially there were some parts that you forgot to sing while the album was being mixed.
Yeah.
What
So
happened there?
basically, the recording sessions were a little stressful because it was the first time I was obviously doing it. And I want to give a shout out to Jason, who did all the recording for the drums we did with Shantanu, but the guitars and everything else. And I think we did a little vocals at Ions, but everything else was mostly Jason. And he was really patient because so it was very stressful with him. We focused on, because it was the first time I did it, I would do something and then I realized like, oh, I would learn from doing it. And then I'd be like, Jason, I just got to do the whole thing over again. I had to do this 3-4 times. So it was a stressful environment. We had to get it done by a certain time to go for mixing. And I was so focused on getting all the guitars, right? And like all the main sort of choruses and all that parts, right? There was a song Bow Down. In the middle there's a riff, and there's a part where in live I sing over it, and I'm in the mixing session and I'm like, something doesn't sound right, and everyone is like, yeah, something is wrong. So we pulled up a live video of us, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot all about that. So I had to go back home and record it like in my room. By that time, Logic had I had like a little studio in my room. So we did that part during the mixing of the album.
And in terms of you guys putting all the songs together, working with Shalom and at the time Aaron as well, what was the dynamic in the group and you guys working together?
Um, so it was like the dynamic was mostly I would write a song and we'd go into the jam room and they'd like come up with their parts. So I would write the lyrics and the melody and my guitar parts, and then we just flush them up. Once we got the drums done, Aaron went off to Bajao. He was like, "I'm out, guys." So me and Shalom finished it off with Jason and Shantanu, which was obviously that was a great experience as well, because like it was our first album and he had done many albums by that point.
And you guys also had like a launch gig, I think, at Blue Frog to support the album. What
Yeah,
was that like?
it was great. I mean, I think realistically we probably played quite terribly because we were very excited. I don't know, emotions got the little better of us in terms of performance, but I just felt like the album was already out for a few days, and it just felt like everybody had heard it. Like there was a great energy in the crowd. um, I wish someone had a GoPro in the crowd. That would have been a much cooler sort of video than like there was a few videos of us playing. That would have been a lot more exciting. But I have really fond memories of that day. I remember we had t-shirts which we weren't making, but our manager like made and surprised us on the day. So that was great. Shout out to Himanshu. Uh, yeah, and Scrat, we played with Scrat that day. Who that was so much fun playing with them.
And finally, looking back on the project and how the album was received, I think it's been 7 years now. So, what are your thoughts on it now?
Uh, well, when it came out, I was really excited. We still play the songs live, so and people seem to like it. So that's great that it's been 7 years and people still sort of know the songs. Yeah, it's great. Well, honestly, like right now though, uh, we over the past few years have been writing very different music, but because it needs like backing tracks and samplers and stuff to play live, we didn't get to play them live, even though we'd written them till like 2 gigs before the lockdown. We played the first one. We didn't go too hardcore with them because it was a metal gig. So we stayed to our stick is Scarfest, but then we played like a college festival and we got to play all these electro pop dance songs. And we played that, I guess and after we played that half of the set, we had to play all these Kali Charan songs. It almost felt like we were playing covers at that point because it's so different.
Awesome, man, Saurabh. Thanks a lot for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you and hope to catch you guys live soon once the lockdown is done.
Yeah, man, we can't wait to play.
Super.
And
I'll see you around.
thanks for having me.